Luis, let me ask you something. Have you ever been at a loud concert and when you walked out, your ears were ringing? You probably thought, oh, it'll go away tomorrow.
Many times, Leo. But here's the scary part. That ringing is actually the sound of your hearing cells dying in real time. Once they're gone, they never come back.
Exactly. We live in the loudest era in human history, yet we understand so little about how we actually lose our sense of sound. Today, we're looking at the biological and environmental triggers of hearing loss.
It's time to stop taking our ears for granted. Let's dive into the science of sound and silence.
Let's start the episode. You know, Luis, we often talk about vision or health in general, but hearing feels like a passive sense. We don't realize how complex the mechanism is until it starts to fail. I was reading that hearing loss isn't just a volume issue, it's a clarity issue.
That's a crucial distinction, Leo. To understand why we lose our hearing, we have to understand the cochlea. It's this tiny, snail-shaped organ in your inner ear. Inside, there are thousands of microscopic hair cells. These aren't like the hair on your head. They are sensory receptors that turn mechanical vibrations into electrical signals for the brain.
So, if the cochlea is the translator, what happens when the translation goes wrong? Is it always about age, or are we doing this to ourselves?
It's a combination of both. In the medical world, we talk about presbycusis, which is age-related hearing loss. It's natural, like getting wrinkles. But the modern epidemic is noise-induced hearing loss, NIHL. This is where we are literally bruising our inner ear with decibels.
But how does a sound actually break a cell? I mean, air hitting your ears shouldn't be enough to cause permanent biological damage, right?
Think of those hair cells in the cochlea like a field of grass. A normal sound is like a gentle breeze. The grass bends and then stands back up. But a loud noise, like a jet engine or a high-volume pair of earbuds, is like a heavy tractor driving over that grass. If the tractor passes once, the grass might recover. But if it keeps driving over it every day, the grass stays flat. Eventually, it dies. And in humans, unlike birds or fish, those cells do not regenerate.
That's a powerful image. The tractor effect. By the way, if you're finding this biological deep dive fascinating, hit the subscribe button. We explore everything from psychology to medical science, all at a C1 level to help you master complex English.
Exactly. And we want to hear from our global community. Leave a comment below. Do you live in a loud city? Do you protect your ears? Or is this the first time you've heard about hair cell regeneration? We want to see your perspective.
All right, Luis, let's do today's mystery quiz. We measure sound in decibels. Exposure to noise above a certain level is considered dangerous for long periods. What is the danger threshold established by the World Health Organization? A. 70 decibels. B. 85 decibels. C. 100 decibels.
Well, a normal conversation is about 60. A vacuum is louder. I'll go with B. 85 decibels.
Interesting choice. We'll verify that later in the show. So, we're discussing the causes of hearing loss. Luis, we've covered loud noises, but I've heard there are hidden killers of hearing. Things that aren't noise-related at all.
You're talking about ototoxicity. Most people have never heard this word, but they should. Certain medications, some antibiotics, chemotherapy drugs, and even high doses of aspirin, can be poisonous to the ear. They enter the bloodstream and chemically attack those hair cells we mentioned earlier.
So you could be treating an infection, but accidentally damaging your hearing? That's a terrifying trade-off.
It is. And then there's the psychological impact. When the hair cells are damaged, the brain sometimes tries to compensate for the lack of input. It starts generating its own sound. This is what we call tinnitus.
Quick break! If you're finding this deep dive helpful, do us a huge favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to join our global community of advanced learners. It's the best way to keep sharpening your listening skills with us. And don't forget, your study guide PDF is waiting for you in the description. It's packed with the exact tools you need to move from learning English to owning it. All right, let's get back to the conversation. We are back. Before to the pausa, you said, this is what we call tinnitus. The ghost sound. A constant ringing or buzzing. I've heard that for some people, tinnitus is more debilitating than the hearing loss itself because it never stops. It's a linguistic and psychological burden.
Precisely. Because hearing loss is an invisible disability. If you lose your sight, people see it. If you lose your hearing, people just think you're not paying attention or that you're becoming socially withdrawn. This leads to cognitive decline. There is a massive correlation between untreated hearing loss and dementia.
Wait, why dementia? How are the ears connected to memory?
It's called cognitive load. When your brain has to work 10 times harder just to decode what someone is saying, it has less energy for memory and processing. Your brain literally shrinks in the areas responsible for auditory processing because it's not being used. It's the use it or lose it principle of neuroplasticity.
So, protecting your ears is actually protecting your brain. Speaking of protection, if you value these health insights, give us a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm share this silent issue with more people.
There's also the issue of conductive hearing loss. This isn't about the inner ear, it's a mechanical blockage. It could be fluid from an infection, a perforated eardrum, or even just earwax. The good news is that this type is often reversible.
So, we have the mechanical, conductive, the biological, sensory neural, and the chemical, ototoxic. It's a multi-front war on our senses.
It is, but we have the tools to fight back. From high-fidelity earplugs to better workplace regulations, the first step is simply awareness.
Before we wrap up, I want to ask about the future. Are we close to a cure? I've seen headlines about gene therapy.
We are in a golden age of auditory research. Scientists are looking at certain species of fish that can regrow their hair cells. If we can find the genetic switch that birds use to repair their ears, we might be able to trigger it in humans. We're talking about a future where hearing loss is treated with a simple injection into the inner ear.
That would be a game changer for millions of people. It's not just about hearing music, it's about social connectivity.
Exactly. Because as Helen Keller once said, blindness cuts us off from things, but deafness cuts us off from people.
Recap and closing. This has been an eye-opening, or rather, ear-opening discussion. Luis, let's check the mystery quiz. The danger threshold?
I said 85 decibels.
And you are correct. Sustained exposure to 85 decibels, which is roughly the sound of a busy restaurant or a lawnmower, can start causing permanent damage after 8 hours. Every 3 decibels above that, the safe listening time is cut in half. At 100 decibels, like a loud club, the safe time is only 15 minutes.
Only 15 minutes? Most people stay for 4 hours. We are truly in a crisis of noise.
Let's recap the auditory toolkit from today. We started with the cochlea and the delicate hair cells that don't regenerate.
We explored presbycusis, age-related, versus noise-induced hearing loss. We also mentioned ototoxicity from medications.
We looked at the ghost sound, tinnitus, and the link between hearing loss and cognitive decline.
And finally, we touched on conductive hearing loss and the hope of gene therapy.
This is your path to C1 mastery. Advanced English isn't just about grammar. It's about being able to discuss the nuances of science, health, and the human condition. Download the study guide in the description for a full breakdown of today's medical terminology and some listening comprehension exercises.
We want to know, do you use noise-canceling headphones? Do you think the world is getting too loud? Let us know in the comments.
See you in the next episode of English Lab.
Bye!